welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be talking again about a short story that I read that has a little bit of Christmas elements, a little bit of Christmas, winter. It's more winter vibes than Christmas. The book that I read is The Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen. It is a fairy tale. The book starts off with introducing us to this troll, or they also call him the devil. This troll has created this mirror that distorts reality. It takes like imperfections or insecurities and it exaggerates it, and then anything that is beautiful and lovely, it just doesn't appear on the mirror. So this devil troll decides, hey, I'm going to take this mirror up to heaven. I don't know how he got access, but anyway, he's taking the mirror up to heaven and it's, I guess, too heavy. And so the mirror crashes down back onto Earth into a million pieces. But each speck of this mirror has enough power or enough energy to do evil as the whole mirror if it was all together. The book explains that these speck of glasses get into people's eyes, into people's hearts, and cause them to think cruelly or think evil or be very negative, basically. So we are introduced to these two characters, Guy and Gerda. Their houses are kind of adjacent to one another, but they're in two separate buildings, but they live in an attic, so they can cross over. Don't ask too many questions. Anyway, up there, because they have access to sunlight, they have a garden which they plant flowers and roses. So one time, Kai and Gerda are hanging out, and Kai gets a speck of that glass from the troll's mirror in his eye and in his heart. And so he starts being very cruel and distant and rude to Gerda. And then the next day, it's snowing outside, so he decides to get his sled to go skiing down a mountain. He leaves, goes skiing down a mountain, and he has kind of like the Dorothy from Wizard of Oz moment where it's like, oh my gosh, everything's white, everything's fuzzy, I feel like I'm in a tornado type of vibe. And he kind of lands in this other world. He lands in this other world, and there's this lady there who is made of ice, who is very cold, and she kind of picks up his sled, and she's just like, come with me. She puts him in her sleigh that has horses. It's carried by horseback, and she starts kissing him. I think she kisses him on his forehead, right? So she kisses him on his forehead, and he starts to forget the memories of the past, his past life a little bit. And he's also still having this very cold heart of, I don't care about nothing, and I don't care about nobody, and very negative. He goes off in a distance, and he is with the Snow Queen. The book goes back into Gerda's perspective, and she's looking for her best friend. Kai is her best friend. They hung out all the time, and then he just goes missing. And everybody keeps on saying, oh yeah, Kai's dead. He probably just got, drowned in the river. Because at this time, he's been gone. He left during winter. It's now spring, and he's nowhere to be found. Gerda then walks to the river, and she has these red shoes that are her prized possession. She talks to the river, and she's just like, hey, have you seen my friend Kai? Where is he? I'll give you these red shoes, these red slippers in exchange. She throws them into the river, and in so many words, the river's just like, he's not here. I can't accept them. So they push the shoes back onto shore. She picks them up, and she's like, maybe I didn't throw them deep enough. So she gets into a boat, gets into the river to drop the shoes in the water, and the water starts flowing, right? And she's kind of getting lost, and she's going in the opposite direction of where she wanted to go. And at this time she's thinking oh, they're taking me to where Kai is. Maybe that's where they're taking me. No, she ends up at this old lady's house, where this old lady is so pleased basically to have company. The old lady is a witch, but she's not a bad witch. She's a good witch. Somehow, some way, she knows about Gerda's past of having a garden that had flowers. The old woman, or the grandmother, also has flowers, and she tells the flowers that she knows is going to remind Gerda of home to sink into the ground. And she also, the old woman, kisses Gerda on the forehead, and Gerda starts forgetting about her previous life. And so Gerda's living there for several months, pretty much off task from her objective of finding her friend Kai, until one day she's crying, and she's crying in the garden, and the tears hit the ground, and the flowers that remind her of home start to bloom and grow again. And then that's when she has like this aha moment. She goes to, there's like several different types of flowers in this garden. She's going to each garden, each flower, she's going to each flower asking like, hey, have you seen my friend Kai? Hey, have you seen my friend Kai? They're very not helpful. They're not helpful at all. All they are able to say is like things about their story, about their life, which is very unhelpful. Before the old woman can find her, she leaves. She just like runs away. She runs away and finds this crow. This crow is just asking her like, what's wrong? And she's like, I can't find my friend Kai. He went missing. Do you think he's dead? And the crow's just like, oh yeah, no, he's not dead. I saw him like a while ago. Like, I know where he at. Gerda and this crow conspire to help her along the stages to get to Kai. Now, the rest of the book, we're going to go really quickly because it's her just going through obstacles and obstacles to get to her final resolution. Does that make sense? So the first thing is the crow helps her get in contact with this princess. Not a queen, but a princess. And the princess has her own backstory. Gerda finally gets in contact with the princess. The princess gives her a carriage to travel to find her friend. She's on the carriage, finding her friend. The carriage gets kidnapped by robbers. There's this little girl who basically saves Gerda's life because she's just like, oh yeah, I need a friend. Don't kill her so I can steal her stuff and she can be my friend. Gerda basically gets kidnapped. She gets kidnapped, and then the girl who basically kidnapped her, who's basically around her same age, lets her go and gives her a reindeer to travel to where the Snow Queen is, because she eventually finds out that Kai is with the Snow Queen. She gets on a reindeer to travel this long distance to this made-up land. She then meets another woman who is another witch, and the reindeer and Gerda are like, hey, can you give me some like power, some assistance so that I can fight 12 men and I can be strong and courageous? The old woman's just like, no. But the old woman sneaks a little message to the reindeer, who was like basically her transportation. And she's just like, hey, Gerda is already strong. She already has more strength than I could ever give to her. And she has to find this on her own. So you need to take her right to basically the threshold of the Snow Queen's palace and leave her there. And let her figure it out. And just as a tidbit, Gerda's going through this whole process. She don't have the right clothes because she left in her reality. She left during springtime, and she also don't have no shoes. She has no shoes. What happened to the red slippers? I'm not really sure. After she got into the boat, I'm not really sure what happened. I don't remember. She gets on the reindeer's back. He gets her to the destination of like the threshold of the home of the Snow Queen. He like, kisses her, and it specifically says, the reindeer kissed her on the mouth. And that just, I don't know why that's disturbing to me. That's so disturbing to me. Anyway, Kai is still with the Snow Queen, and he's kind of like just very much disillusioned to the reality in which he's living because of the speck of glass in his eye and in his heart. And he's actually turning black in some areas because of frostbite, because he's with the Snow Queen. She's very cold. She lives in a cold region, and he's just kind of there. The Gerda gets there. She's just like, oh my goodness, Kai, there you are. Oh my goodness. She gives him a hug and she starts crying. And the tears land on his chest. And somehow, because the tears left on his chest, the shard of glass that was in his heart dissolved. And when that dissolved, he recognized like, oh yeah, this is my longtime friend. He started crying, which then resulted in the speck of glass in his eye dissolving as well. And so then they just walked on home. That's pretty much the end of the book. They walked on home. And I'm not sure what I was expecting, but they kind of make the Snow Queen, specifically Snow Queen, out to be like this very evil person. Not saying she wasn't, but we didn't even get to hang out with the Snow Queen. I didn't even get to see like what was her day to day. What was her skincare routine? I didn't even know. Like, we didn't even talk about her. It was basically a book about Gerda finding Kai. That was a book. We're gonna keep it short and simple. But yeah, that is it for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.